Hello everyone, you are all welcome back to my channel. This is Zoya's Affairs, and if today is your first time of tuning in, you are highly welcome. And to my returning subscribers, I am so glad you came back to watch. So guys, today on the channel I will be preparing this ram intestine stew. Yeah, is it actually ram or lamb? I don't know, but I think it's ram. So these are the intestine which we got from the ram we used earlier, or let me say for some days ago. So these are the intestine that I've kept in the freezer, and I brought it out since yesterday night for it to defrost, and it has defrosted beautifully. So I'm going to just wash it up, and I think I'm going to need to cut some because they are big, as in they are in big chunks. So I'm going to just wash it properly, make sure it is properly cleaned, and I'm going to cut some into normal bite pieces because I don't like meat that are too big in size. So over here I'm just trying to wash the meat. I actually washed this meat a couple of times to make sure to get rid of the bad blood and just let everything clean up. I also added some salt to it just to clean it properly, and I'm just going to place everything inside a pot, and I'm going to add enough water just to cover it up, and I'm going to bring this to a boil. The aim here is just to make sure I get rid of the smell that it had, because this meat actually had some smell that I am not okay with. It actually had some smell that I don't like. So the aim here is just to make sure I parboil it for like 7 to 10 minutes on medium to low heat, just to make sure it comes to a rolling boil. And I'm just going to drain off the water, rinse it all over again before I began to cook it properly. So while I place that on the stove to continue cooking, I'll go ahead and show you some of the herbs and spices which I'll be using to cook this meat. So over here I have some of the spices which I'll be using. I have salt, I have paprika, I have all-purpose seasoning, I have some thyme, I have curry powder, I have rosemary, some diced onions, and I also have some seasoning cubes which I'll be using for it. So it's been 10 minutes, and as you can see, the meat has come to a rolling boil. So I'm just going to take this off the heat, transfer it into the sink, and just drain some of the water away, and I'm going to wash it all over again before I started the cooking. So after washing, now it is properly clean to my taste. I'm adding it back into the pot, and I'm just going to add all the seasonings which I showed you earlier, and I'm going to add enough water for it to cook. So I'll let this cook for like 80% cooked on the fire, and I'm going to finish it up in the stew. I'm going to balance it up to make it 100% cooked in the stew. So I just added enough water, and I'm going to cover it and allow it to cook. So after 10 minutes into the cooking time, I came back to the pot, and as you can see, the meat is properly cooked. I'm just trying to stir everything in together just to make sure I see that it is well cooked. And so now that it's cooked, I'm going to take it off the heat, drain it, and set the stock aside, and I'm going to just place the meat in another bowl. So once that is done, it is now time to dive into the cooking. So over here I have the ingredients which I will be using for the stew. I have some vegetable oil here. You can choose to use palm oil, it is totally okay, but today I will be using vegetable oil. And I have some mixed peppers here. This pepper have been boiled down, so it's going to make my cooking faster and it's going to reduce my time of cooking. So I also have some herbs and spices, which just includes some curry powder, thyme, rosemary, and some ginger. I like to feel the aroma of ginger in my stew, so I'll be adding ginger to it. And I also have salt to taste, and I have some tomato paste over here, which I'll be adding to the oil. And I also have some chopped onions, and I have the beef seasoning. Since we am cooking with meat, I decided to use beef seasoning. So these are the ingredients which I will be using for the stew. So in a clean pan, I'm just going to add the vegetable oil into the pan, and I will allow it to heat up for a bit. Then I'm going to come in with the diced onions. So I'm going to fry these onions for a couple of minutes, let's say 2 to 3 minutes. I'll be frying these onions, then I'm going to go ahead and add in the tomato paste. So after adding the tomato paste, I'll continue to stir this all together just to make sure it is not burning, and I'm just going to continue stirring it till everything has melted into the onions. And as you can see, this is how you know your tomatoes paste is ready. Because you can take it up like this, it is fried now. It is no more mushy together, it is not molding together again. It has begun to separate just like this. So this is how you know the tomato paste is ready. So right over here now, I'm just going to pour in all the pepper mix together, and I'm just going to combine that real well just to make sure everything is well combined in. And I'm just going to cover this and allow it to cook for the first 15 minutes all on its own without any disturbance. So 15 minutes later, I came back to the pot of stew, and as you can see, it is well cooked. The oil have started to flow on top of the stew. This is how you know that your stew is getting there. So I'm just going to give this a quick mix, and right now I'm going to add in all the spice and condiments. So after adding everything inside, I'm going to stir it together properly, and I'm going to now add the boiled meat. Once I add the boiled meat, I'm going to stir that in. Just make sure everything is well combined into it. Then I'm going to cover it and allow it to start cooking. So this has been cooking for additional of another 15 minutes, and it is now the total of 30 minutes I've been cooking this stew. The secret of you getting a good stew, or let me say a very flavorful stew, is patience. All you need is patience to achieve that good taste and aroma you want in your stew. If you want your stew to taste good, to taste delicious, you have to be patient. So I've been cooking this for all over 30 minutes now, and when I came back to check on the stew, I see that the oil have started to flow on top, and the oil was very much, which is so good, which is very good. This shows that our stew has been properly fried, and it was not boiling. It has not been boiling, it has been frying. So right now I'm just going to scoop out some of the excess oil, and I'm going to keep that for later use. I can actually use that to make noodles, I can use it to fry eggs, I can use it for pasta, use it for jollof rice, anything you desire to use vegetable oil or this kind of oil for, you can certainly use this oil for it. So I'm just going to mix everything together, and look at that, our stew is ready. The meat has cooked into it. Everything has been well combined together and the stew is ready. I'm just going to take this off the heat and set it aside. So guys, you can actually have this with some boiled rice. You can have this with boiled yam, boiled plantain, potatoes. You can even have this with bread. So but today we are going to be serving this over with some semolina, which I have already made, and I'll be serving this with ewedu soup. So this is how we are going to be enjoying this today, and it was so delicious. I bet you try this out, guys, and let me know what you think. So if you have watched my video up to this very moment, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, like my video, share this to your family and friends. See you again in my next one. Bye.